This story out of Illinois is awful. This is Adriana Lopez window. The ex gets out of the driver's side and repeatedly opens fire on the cop. The cop is hit multiple times and the men run through the parking lot. You can't see it on the camera, but the ex then hits the cop repeatedly with his gun before returning to his car and driving off.
Is accused of poisoning her boyfriend with antifreeze to get some of his alleged $30 million inheritance. When the victim's friend said he was going to break up with her after he got the money, she got mad and started throwing his things outside their home last month. His friends told cops he didn't feel well that night. He felt drunk, even though he wasn't. His stomach was hurting and he was falling over when he tried to walk. And he just kept getting worse. His friends wanted him to get medical attention, but they say she wouldn't let them, and she insisted he was having a heat stroke and he needed to rest. But she told investigators she was the one who wanted to get him medical attention, and one of his friends said no. Cops said she waited until the next day to get help, and he died at the hospital. She said he had been drinking all day, but there was no alcohol in his system.
We had received phone calls from some of the victim's friends who told us they believed that he was possibly poisoned.
An autopsy showed he was poisoned, and a coroner found toxic levels of an ingredient found in antifreeze, and traces of it were found in their home. She was arrested Monday, and she's charged with murder. As for the inheritance,
everything that we have indicates that that settlement doesn't exist.
Welcome to CSL TV, and I just hope you guys are having a beautiful, blessed day. Now, if you're new to the channel, this is just a review, a reaction, as well as an informational channel. Hopefully the informational part help you with someone out, and we just gonna watch some videos and talk about it. I mean, you know, a lot been going on in this world. A lot been going on. But if you've been rocking with your boy, I just gotta say thank you so much, because you could be somewhere else trying to find these videos, but you decide to stay here with me, CSL TV. Man, I just think about life. I'm about to have back surgery for the first time. I ain't never had surgery before. So it's like crazy that this is coming. But anyway, I'm heavy on that.
Story out of Illinois is awful. This is Adriana Lopez, a 37-year-old teacher out of Chicago. She'd been teaching special ed for the past 3 years and had aspirations of eventually becoming a principal. But that all changed on Sunday. According to police, a man had been waiting for her to return home, and when he approached her in a car, he opened fire at least 10 times, killing her. The man who pulled the trigger? Police think it was her ex-boyfriend. He allegedly fled the scene, but on Tuesday night, police pulled him over during a traffic stop, and that was all caught on cam. Watch as the officer speaks through the passenger window. The ex gets out of the driver's side and repeatedly opens fire on the cop. The cop is hit multiple times, and the men run through the parking lot. You can't see it on the camera, but the ex then hits the cop repeatedly with his gun before returning to his car and driving off. The ex is eventually tracked down by police, where he runs towards the road, gets hit by the police car, and is thrown into the street before being taken into custody. The cop that the ex shot has multiple injuries, including brain bleed and skull fractures, and is still in the hospital recovering. The Chicago Tribune reports that Adriana filed for a protective order against her boyfriend last month. The National Coalition Against Domestic Violence warned that 1 in 2 female murder victims are killed by intimate partners, and most intimate partner homicides are committed with firearms. The 37-year-old ex-boyfriend faces multiple charges in the shooting of the cop, including attempted murder, and while he's also a suspect in Adriana's death, cops haven't charged anyone yet as they're still investigating.
Now that was quite disturbing to hear that this loser, you know what I'm saying, killed this beautiful soul in this domestic abuse situation, you know. And my sister lost her life over this a year ago. So I understand what the family's going through, and I hope that justice is served. Unfortunately for us, we still waiting on justice. We don't understand why they doing the things, how they doing it, but at least this loser is motherfucking in jail, and he hopefully isn't able to get out. They hopefully isn't bonding him out, you know, but since the police officer was involved, I'm pretty sure he's not going to get bonded out, or he's not going to bond out. But y'all need to let folks know domestic abuse is for losers. That shit lame as hell. You shouldn't be putting your hand on nobody or choosing if somebody should be on this earth or not, because you don't make those high power decisions.
this mother is finally getting answers after her 37-year-old son vanished back in March.
He never disappeared like that. He never.
She reported him missing to the police department, and when she called investigators for updates, they said they had no news.
You would lay in your bed. You would think he might have been out there suffering. Somebody might have had him, tortured him. You just want that call to say, Mom, I'm all right. I'm all right. All you want to do is see your child.
It wasn't until August 24th that investigators told her what happened to her son. The night her son went missing, he was crossing a highway and was hit and killed by an off-duty cop in a police cruiser, less than a mile from his mom's home. The coroner's office said they ID'd her son and shared his mom's contact info with police. But since no one claimed his body, by July he was buried in a field by the county jail in an unmarked grave. His mother says police never reached out.
Dexter, I tried to find you and I couldn't. I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry you're here.
She's frustrated that it took so long for officials to let her know about his death or where his body was. Now her lawyer is calling for the DOJ to get involved to look into how the police responded. NBC reached out to the Jackson Police Department for comment, but they haven't responded. But the mayor of Jackson had this to say.
At no point have we identified or did any investigation reveal that there was any police misconduct in this process and that there was any malicious intent.
Dexter's family says they plan to exhume his body to conduct their own autopsy and will hold a funeral.